Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Last First Date Radio, featuring interviews with experts in dating, relating, and mating in midlife. And now, here's your host, Sandy Weiner.
Hello, this is Sandy, and welcome to Last First Date Radio, the place to be for creating healthy, lasting relationships in midlife. And today I am excited to be speaking with writer, dating coach, and fitness professional Treva Brandon Scharf about how she became a first-time bride at 50. It's going to be a great conversation. I have been working as a life and dating coach for about 10 years now, and what I have learned is, boy, did I get love and dating wrong for the first 50 years of my life. I really didn't understand the part that I played in the whole dating and relationship world, and it led to me making some pretty unhealthy choices that echoed the relationships of my parents, for example, and the kinds of just what we observe and how we grow up is such an important indicator of the kinds of attachments we have, the ways that we're comfortable in relationships. And until we can really heal that, we keep dating the same person with a different face. So I got sick and tired of dating the same person with a different face. I did the inner work, studied with top professionals. I've been doing this show for 5 years, which has also broadened my knowledge base. And I love helping people find love. So my whole belief is that a woman of value attracts in the love that she wants, the toe-curling epic love that she wants. And every week I bring you a tip on what is a woman of value and how you become one. And this week's tip is step number 22, which is forgive yourself and others. I find that people hold on to anger so much, anger at your ex, anger at your parents, anger at your friends who did you wrong, and angry at ourselves. We beat ourselves up for things we did, staying too long in a relationship, whatever. Just, we need to stop. And so forgiving doesn't mean condoning. It doesn't mean I say it's okay that somebody treated me terribly, but what you are saying is I'm going to let go of this taking me down and being a giant weight on my shoulders. So please take that away today. Forgive yourself and others. And before I bring on Treva, I just wanted to remind you that if you're not yet a member of my private Facebook group, which is called Your Last First Date, don't forget the your, please join us. The conversation there is always positive and supportive, and it's a place that's safe for women to come to, women over 40, who want support in dating and relationships. I am a very forward-moving person. I don't believe in wallowing in self-pity and being a victim. So if you're interested in a positive group that is going to support you and help you become the woman of value that you already are, join my Facebook group, Your Last First Date. All right, Treva Brandon Scharf. She is a writer, a dating coach, and a fitness professional. She has over 35 years in the fitness industry and 50 years in the singles world. She helps people achieve peak performance in life and love. I love that. As a first-time bride at 50, she writes about finding love later in life over at her blog, which is called The Late Blooming Bride. She's also a dating advice contributor at the Huffington Post, Hollywood Progressive, Midlife Boulevard, and many others. And Better After 50, where I used to be the resident dating expert. She currently hosts the internet radio show Done Being Single on VoiceAmerica Network with her husband, Robby Scharf. Join me now for episode number 311, How to Find Love Later in Life with Treva Brandon Scharf. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here.
Great to have you, another radio host and fellow writer. So
I'm getting good at the live radio thing. I think I'm a pro now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first started this show 5 years ago, it was actually called Courageous Conversations because I was obsessed with healthy communication and really speaking your truth. And one day I was speaking to a consultant who said to me, why not keep your show, branded with your company name? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of obvious. So I changed it to Last First Date Radio, but I used to think that I was speaking to like a black hole, like nobody was listening, and you just don't always get feedback. And now I get so much feedback, and there's so many downloads, and people are finding me through the show and finding my group, and I love it. I just love to be able to have a platform like this to bring people like you to our listeners.
Thank you so much.
Well,
I really feel like it's a community, and I feel the same way as you, that I am helping people through my writing and my blogs, and me and my husband Robby are providing a really high-quality service to single people, and it feels good. It feels like there's a whole world out there of single people that are in need of support, guidance, direction, encouragement, and I feel good that, being single all those years, I cursed it sometimes, and I would yell and, wonder why am I still single? Why can't I get married? Why can't I find a great guy? And now it's sort of like, oh, I get it. Okay, maybe it was all part of a bigger plan, because I have all of this knowledge, I have all this wisdom that I gained along the way that now I'm able to share.
Great. So let's talk about that knowledge. That's a good segue, because you did learn some great lessons, and I think it's important for our listeners to know, like, what was your journey to finally saying I do when you were 50 years old?
It was not, I want to say that, it was part me not being ready. So let's just say it like it is here. I was not ready for a really long time. In my 30s, not ready to settle down. There were things about being single that I really did enjoy. And and then, though, when I got into my early 40s, I had a little bit of a delayed biological clock go off, and I thought, holy shit, I forgot to get married and have a kid, and that's when the panic set in. And so that's when my early 40s were tough. Early to late 40s were really, really brutal at times, because I just could not I was getting more and more desperate by the minute, which then led me down some bad paths and led me to make bad choices, and I just kind of got into one bad relationship after the other, stupid people, and so it took me to get to a point in my life where I truly just gave up. I was almost turning 50. I was at a real low point. I wasn't happy with my career. I wasn't married yet. I had no prospects. And then on top of it, I had tried to get pregnant on my own at 43 to about 46, and that was not successful. And in the meantime, I drained my savings and got myself into fertility debt. And so by the time 49 rolled around and I was on my umpteenth failed relationship, I was, as I'd like to say, it was the perfect storm of despair. And then something, I don't know, I turned a corner at some point, so I was totally mired in self-loathing and pity, and I hated it, because I'm like you. I don't like feeling like a victim, and I don't like wallowing. So I managed to snap out of it with some, help and friends and support, and something just kind of lifted, and something was the despair and the sadness and the failure was somehow replaced with resignation, but in a good way, acceptance, and just making peace with the fact that, okay, here we go. I'm turning 50, and I am single. And I have a choice. I can either continue down this really unpleasant, path I was on, or I could take control, turn the ship around, and start to make peace with my singleness. And that's kind of that was an interesting turning point for me because right after that, or right on the day I turned 50, I had a party for myself because I thought, well, I'm never getting married, so I might as well throw myself the wedding, I'm never going to have. So I threw myself a big party, invited half of Facebook, and one of those guests was a guy I had met on Facebook, and he showed up to the party, and we ended up getting engaged 6 months later.
I love that. So you met him on Facebook through business or something?
I met him. We went to the same high school. He's 6 years older, didn't know him, but we had a lot of mutual friends. And he had actually reached out to me right as I was going through a breakup with someone, and about something unrelated, not having anything to do with, hey, are you single? Do you want to go out? It wasn't like that. It was about a friend of ours, a mutual friend. So we had a couple exchanges, and that was it. And then I didn't speak to him or see him, or it was not in my consciousness for a few more months. And then a friend of mine actually ran into him at the camera store, and it kind of planted a seed that he was a nice guy. And so when my birthday party, was coming up, I thought, I'll invite Robby. He seems like a really nice person. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I didn't give a shit anymore whether I got married or not. It was off the to-do list. I didn't care.
Right.
I did not. And so dating him, so once I stopped being desperate, once I stopped being in constant pursuit, once I took that off, off my agenda, it freed me. I was free. I was free to enjoy myself, to enjoy, whatever came my way. And this is who walked into my life. And it was a pleasure. Because also I think I had done so much work on myself that it was no accident that I magnetized someone very healthy into my life. So that was also, I believe, at work. Something bigger was at work there.
Yeah, we don't attract healthy until we get healthier, because otherwise we just keep going back. And I was just speaking to a client who told me her sister has this boyfriend. Her sister's very controlling, and the boyfriend always says, "You're so controlling, you're trying to control me." I said, "Well, that's great, but what does he do about it?" She said, "Well, he leaves for about a week, and then he keeps coming back." And I said, "Well, there's something very familiar to both of them in this dynamic, and they're going to keep repeating it until they both decide that it's not working enough to want to change it." And that's what we do. We see what's familiar, even if it's painful. It just feels like love, and it's not. It's not healthy. So you did a lot of good things. You also went from scarcity to abundance. You went from desperation to being self-compassionate, at peace with yourself. And I have to say that I just finished, I'm finishing up my 6-month group coaching program. And each of the women in the program, when we were speaking last week, all were at this place of peace, of self-acceptance, no desperation, just feeling a sense of calm. And to me, that's the step before you find love. That is really, there's no sense of anxiety that you bring to the dating world, right?
Yeah, none. And I think there is an interesting dynamic that is at play with men when you don't, appear to need a guy, or you're okay on your own. There is something extremely attractive about that to someone. It's that sense of calmness that's a very good word to use, calmness, because I don't know. I smell neediness a mile away in someone. I smell desperation coming right at me. It's very not. It's not attractive. Period. Not to mention
unless
romantically.
Right. Unless you're codependent and you need that
Unless you're
to
codependent,
fuel you.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Unless that's
Yeah.
what you want and it's a perfect fit, you're a damsel in distress and you're a Dudley Do-Right, and there you go.
Yeah. And we don't want those relationships. I mean, we may have been stuck in them in the past, but it's so important to do the work to get out of them because they're really never happy relationships in the long run. I mean, it's just a sense of desperation and neediness. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's not just unattractive, it's actually repulsive. And and unless people work on that, I mean, I see the anxiety that comes into my group where a man didn't text you back within an hour, and oh my God, and what's going on? And he didn't call me back in 2 days. And do you think he likes me? Should I tell him to go to hell? It's like, calm down, get a life, and really, you've just got to relax into this and not put so much pressure on the whole dating world. So it sounds like you really got to that place, and Robby found that really attractive.
Yes, and it was so nice and refreshing. It was like no pressure. None of the pressure was on. I didn't need to get married, and I didn't need to have kids, and that window closed. And okay, that's that we don't need to do that, and I don't care. And it was interesting when he did propose to me. I was so enjoying enjoying the ride. When he first before he proposed, he suggested we move in together, and that was like a whole conversation that kind of led to the proposal, because I said to him, thank you. And at the time, he was living in downtown L.A., which is a real schlep from where I was in L.A. I'm in Beverly Hills, and it's not that far, but far enough that it was, a big commute. And we were also paying 2 rents, and it made sense, to move in. And I said, no, thank you, very flattered. But I'm good at being single. I'm good at this. I like my life. I like where I live. I worked really, really hard at getting to this place. I don't want to give it up, and unless I have a firm commitment here. Like, I don't want to go play house at this age, And it wasn't like an ultimatum. It, wasn't. I didn't say to him, "Put a ring on it, man."
No. No.
I just basically just stated what I felt, what my needs were, what I wanted, what I thought I was deserving of, and it was very empowering, I guess, and inspiring, because he got up from the conversation, went over to his desk. He was living in a loft at the time. He went over to his office area. I heard him kind of rummaging through some sort of a plastic bag, and like a grocery bag. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? And I said, what are you doing over there? He said, none of your beeswax. So I thought, this is so odd. You're getting up in the middle of this conversation, which, by the way, came at the 6-month point, which, by the way, is the exact time that every single relationship I've pretty much ever had ended, at 6 months. At 6 months, there's something about that 6-month point where you kind of stop and you reassess and you go, okay, evaluate. Are we moving forward? Where are we going here? So it just so happened that he brought it up at the 6-month point, and I immediately started to hyperventilate, or started to choke, or started to get sweat, because I thought, oh, this is it. This is goodbye. Because if I tell him no, thank you to moving in, that means I'm telling him, in so many words, I need you to commit, and I need this to be firmer, which always sent guys running for the hills. So I'm sitting there going, oh God, this is it. I'm over, goodbye, because I thought, there's no way he's going to step up, and what do you say to that? I need a firm commitment. Well, this is what he did. So he gets up from the couch, he goes over to his office desk area, comes back. I can't imagine what is going on. He says, close your eyes. And I did, and he took my right hand, and he slipped something over my and I said, wrong hand. And I thought, oh, you're so cute. You probably got like a little Cracker Jack ring or something, you know, like a little placeholder or something from like some. He's in the music business. Like you got something at a trade show, some convention crap, and like you're putting it on my finger. And then he said, "Okay, open your eyes." And I looked down, and it was a ring. It was a ring. And he said, "Will you marry me?" And I kind of freaked out. I said, "What? No, come on!" Like I couldn't get my head around it. It was his mom's ring, so it was just floating around in a bag of belongings that he had gotten after she died a few years ago. So it wasn't in a box. There wasn't a bow. There wasn't a big proposal. It just was really organic and really spontaneous. And I couldn't. I was so flipped. No one's ever asked me to marry them. And again, I can tell you, I was freaking out because I thought, why? And I said to him, we don't have to do this. We could just keep going. Because I was so fearful. Yeah, I thought, no, let's not ruin it. Let's just keep going. And then the way we're going. And he said, no, I want to marry you. That should tell you what I had been used to in life. And and that was the beginning. The rest is sort of history.
Yeah. So what's so interesting is I love your story, and the lessons to me are so clear, but probably not to the general public about who you had to become in order to attract this man, and also your ability to set limits was really important, to just say, no, I'm not moving in. I appreciate you did it with kindness and compassion, and you didn't do it as a command, which, again, there's no neediness in that. There's just expressing needs, and this is what people are terrible at. I have my clients filling out an operating manual that for them to write down, how do I function best in life, and how can I communicate that to the man in my life, and what do I need? And so when you can express that, it's like gold. So he appreciated it. He proposed to you. You're like, come on, no, this is impossible. You're probably not going to want to stay with me. So let's take you back to your younger self. And are there any lessons you would like to teach the 20-year-old you that you found out later in life that got you ready to be married at 50?
Yes, I would say have a clearer vision of, you don't have to know what you're going to be. You don't have to know exactly what you want, but try really hard to have some kind of a vision of your future and who you are and the kind of person that you ultimately would like to be and attract into your life. I didn't have that. I was all over the map. I didn't know. You could blame a lot of things. I had kind of lousy role models. My parents were divorced. I was six or seven. Neither of them remarried. My dad finally did, just only about 20 years ago. Yeah, I was a latchkey child. I had no older brothers or sisters. I had no mentoring, no guidance. So I was sort of left to figure out the world on my own and figure out my own self-worth, which I didn't really have a handle on for a long time. I don't think I realized what I had and what my worth was and what my true value was until later. And I wish I could have gotten quiet and focused and centered and had the ability to do all those things, which I had no idea how to do those things because back then we didn't meditate. And kind of at least just visualize a little bit of a roadmap or an action plan or something that would have been helpful. Or be able to say, to stop and look at myself and get quiet enough inside to recognize and acknowledge how my greatness, which I had no ability to self-reflect. I didn't know. I had no idea who I was and what I was able to offer. Untethered, I would say. Untethered.
Mm-hmm.
So
like
that's
that
the advice I would give to myself, at 20. I would give to anybody else. It's not a bad idea. And again, you don't, there's no way, we're not psychic, we don't have a crystal ball. But what we can do, if you have the ability, the skills, the tools, if you and this is why we have shows like yours and shows like, mine and blogs like mine, to be able to turn people on to things, ways, methods to get clarity. So sorry for the barking dog. It's not mine.
Okay.
So that's what I would probably say, and there's a whole lot more to that. But I wish I had the ability to just go, okay, then, like, who am I? Look at me. Wow. Look what I got. Was unable to do that. Look at all that I've been blessed with.
Okay.
Look what I can do with my life. Look had no clue.
Right. I think the self-worth piece is missing in most of us. I mean, that's why my whole focus is how to be a woman of value, because we give up our value. We give up our value to others. We suppress it. We want to make ourselves small and make other people shine, and we don't even know what our worth is, because especially if you're left alone. And have you done any studying about attachment theory and how we attach to our partners?
No.
That I highly
like
recommend you.
I will.
Yeah, you will be blown away. So there's two really good books I recommend. One is Attached by Amir Levine, and I forgot his co-author. And the other one is called Wired for Dating, and I also forgot the author. There's one, Wired for Love and Wired for Dating. And it's really about how we are hardwired from the time we are very small and how our caretakers take care of us. So if you grew up in a home like you did with a lot of avoidance, your parents just kind of left you on your own in the latchkey and the divorce, so there was sort of a do-it-yourself environment that led you to be self-reliant instead of other-reliant, and we call that the avoidant.
Okay.
So I think if you look at it, I think you'll see yourself in one of the attachment styles, and it'll make sense why you were the way you were and how you had to heal within to have a more secure attachment style, which is what led you to Robby, who is, it sounds like he has a secure attachment style.
He also, he was a late blooming groom too, so when I met him, never been married either. I pretty much married my male counterpart. He was 56, never been married.
Yeah, that's amazing.
When I met him.
I love it. People need to hear stories like this, because so many people come to me and say, I'm too old, I've lost my chance, life is over. And it's like, no. You did not end your life today. You still have a chance, and it's really, we have so much more power to achieve what we want when we have that focus. So like you said, get that vision, know what you want, and see what the blind spots are, see what's in the way, like you did, and increase your self-worth, increase your self-love, and amazing things happen from that space.
Yeah,
so,
I would.
Yeah.
You just said something that clicked. Light bulb, which just went off over my head. The word power isn't necessarily associated. You don't think with power and women. It's not feminine. It's not female. But here's what I will say: I wish I knew my potential earlier in life. I wish I had a sense of my own power in the world. And I'm not saying that in a ball-breaking kind of way. I'm saying that it's connected with self-worth and value. That's important for women to feel somewhere, somehow, their own power. And because that will kind of save the day in a lot of, it would have saved the day had I been aware or equipped with the knowledge that I was capable, competent, had the power, and I don't think I recognized that until way later in life. But I think it's doable earlier, much earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm raising children who know their worth, because I think we get to change the legacy of the next generation if we have children, or even the people we influence and the people who are in our spheres, the people like you who did not have children of your own. It's such an important piece that we have this ability to change other people's lives by the lessons that we learned about our own life and how we wish something would have been in place for us. We get to help other people do that. And I just want to say before we go that the word power, it's interesting how you kept saying it's not negative, not negative. Because I think for women often, when you say the word power, it is looked at as you're a ball buster and you are this bull in a china shop. And a lot of women who find their voices, especially later in life, are rageful. They are angry. They are in your face. They are abrasive. And that kind of power is not the kind of power we're talking about. That's actually repulsive power to me. It's powering over people. It's powering in your face. But the kind of power that I teach is that softer version of power. It's being powerful but not being overbearing. And that is a skill. And it's a skill that I love to teach because it's grace and it's beauty and it's in its finest form, really. Yeah,
it's not negative and it's not masculine and it needn't be used as, a way to dominate. It's not about that. It's power and strength is, those are two things as a fitness pro, I use every day with my female clients, and it's a beautiful thing. And what power and strength enable you to do, we know what it enables you to do in the gym, but outside the gym, in terms of your life, is to have when you have a sense of your own power, you have the strength to ask for what you want. You have the strength to get your needs met and to say no, or to have the strength to say yes. And that's what I'm saying. That's how that's my interpretation of power and strength.
And I can see it in this discussion when you talked about how when Robby asked you to move in with you, you didn't say it in a nasty way. You set a boundary in a graceful way. And you just said, this is what I need, and if you can't meet it, that's okay. It's like, I'm not forcing, I'm not nagging, I'm not pushing, I'm stating what I need. And if we could all do that, wow. What world, right?
Stating your needs is, it's scary. It's really scary because you're putting it out there, and you're leaving yourself open for maybe rejection. Or
somebody saying no.
Abandonment. It's really hard to say what you want and to speak your truth and to use your voice and to make your demands known. Super scary, and I would say that's where the power comes in. So if you start training that muscle at an early age, it could only be a good thing.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a great conversation. We could go on and on. This whole last part of the discussion, I could talk about that for hours. I'm actually creating a whole new website called The Woman of Value, and I'm going to have a new podcast associated with it because this has become my passion, is to help women own their strengths and do it in a way that's feminine and has grace and learn to speak up, show up, and stand up for the things that matter. But thank you so much for coming on the show
right
today,
on,
Treva.
sister.
And,
thank you. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
So
I'll let
great.
you know when it's live.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad we're aligned here in our purposes. And tell our audience how they can find you and learn more about you.
Okay, so you can get everything you need to know about me at my website, which is trevabrandonscharf.com. So my blogs are there, my podcasts are there, like this one will be at some point featured. And then also you can find me and my husband at our radio show, which is donebeingsingle.com. And that is every Saturday from 12 to 1 Pacific time, but you can always download it, get it on demand. And we go deep. We deep dive into dating. We really do. The gamut. From grooming, we just had an episode on manscaping and grooming to self-sabotage. So we're covering it all.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you, and good luck with all that you're doing out in the world. Thank you for doing the beautiful work you're doing with your husband and with yourself, and thank you for inspiring my audience to know that it's never too late to have the love that you want and deserve.
Oh, God, no. It's there. It's every day. It's right around the corner, everyone. It's right there. Maybe just on your shoulder. Yep. Look over your shoulder. It's
Once
tapping
you're ready,
you on the shoulder right
it.
now.
That's right. You probably missed it quite a few times, too. So answer the call when it comes.
Right.
Thanks again, Treva. Thank you. And
you got it. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for listening today. And if you do like our show, please rate us and review us wherever you listen to this show, whether it's FM Player or iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher or TuneIn or wherever else we are. Thank you again, and I hope everybody goes on their last first date very soon. Have a great day.